It is.
So every time you talk to somebody, every relationship that you can develop, every time you meet someone, you know, when they say they're really interested in this, or they just joined a Zumba class, or they want to study Talmud, whatever it is, serious or fluff, I don't really care. Listen. And if I said to you, if you were a sisterhood, and I said, what are your hobbies? And 7 people said, I like to read, and you don't have a book club, duh.
Right.
You know, and also I'd say to people, what did you do in your professional career? Well, somebody was a CPA. Who went back to school and became a CPA? Jean. Well, you know what? If you need somebody else to look at your books, don't ask me. Don't ask Rhonda. I'm calling Jean. So sometimes it's just helpful to know what people did and what people are interested in. But there's not a magic for membership. It is relationship building. And that's how you build your sisterhoods. And sometimes you can hit your head against the wall if you're in a demographically challenged community and there's nobody new. You know what? There's no one new. So offer the best you can, and the quality of a sisterhood for whatever it is. I'm down to 3 members in a sisterhood that has 60 members in a shul. We had 50 people for Yenta. If you want to talk depressing, I can tell you. And we're a paper system. We don't even have programs. And I'm the youngest. Yes, we're really it's an older group. I joined 34 years ago. My group of friends were the youngest, and no one new joined after us. And they were mostly 15, 20 years my senior at that point. So, you know, you could go, we're in our 60s, they're in their 80s. But, you know, sometimes we sat today also downtown Chicago, and they were saying there's not any newer people, not use younger or older, there's not any new people, there's nobody new to tap into. And I said, you know what? What are you hitting your head against the wall for? If you are offering an amazing programming schedule and meeting the needs of your women, and they're happy little campers, they do. Isn't that enough? And so whether Gail does it for 20 or Helen does it for 600, if it's meeting the needs of your women, if your women feel included, if your women feel valued, you know what? That's the job of the sisterhood, to make sure that everybody has a place here, everybody has a voice here, everybody feels included, and that we attempt to meet the needs of our women. And how do you find out what that is? You've got to talk to people. You've got to meet them one-on-one. Programming has to be diverse. Again, one programming person can't sit there and create a year's worth of programming. What will they come to? I say this everywhere I go. The days of 50 people showing up to a gastroenterology lecture are long gone. You know, the disease of the month, you know, we used to have, you know, pick a disease. Right. That's not what people are interested in. They might be interested in a heart day or a women's health day. I'm not saying they wouldn't be interested in health, but you can't do it every month. And you know what? Having 10, 12 programs a year like we used to in the old days, with an exec meeting every month and a board meeting every month, and that doesn't work in people's schedules anymore. So we need to adjust it. And we need to partner with young people, if there are some, and give them the space to develop if we have it. And if you don't, then partner them up. And again, find those few young people and say, look, do you want fluff? Do you want serious? Do you want Zumba? Do you want martinis? Do you want to learn, you know, do you want to learn Mahjong? I don't care what it is. And it's all about meeting people's needs. And so, you know, I'm not going to give you a whole thing on programming and membership, but these are the issues in leadership development. You can't just expect someone to walk in and become president. You've got to grow leaders, and you've got to give people small opportunities to success and have people work on committees. I was at a shul. Where was it? Your shul.
That's right.
They're busy. They're filling up their board. They've got this wonderful board. They've got most of their spots filled, but they can't find a rummage chair. Truly crisis. You think you have problems? They can't find a rummage chair. And I looked at them and I said, so what? I'd rather have 5 women working on a rummage committee, committed to the process and committed to the program and to that project, than worry about who's the chair.
That's right.
People don't want these titles. They're frightened. They don't want to have all the burden. So don't give it to them. Someone in those 5 women are going to rise to the occasion. Someone's going to give a report. 5 women are now committed to working rummage. No one's the chair. You can't find a president? Don't have one. Have a consortium. Have a presidium. Take your vice presidents and divide up the task. Have a president a month. It doesn't last long. Trust me, by the next year, after a president a month, someone said, I could have done it for 2 months. Yeah, all of a sudden, you're down to 6 on year 2. Year 3, you're back down to 1 or 2. You have to do what you need to do. And you have to, like, not be boxed in to the structure you think that you have to live and die by. It has to be, what are we looking to accomplish? What is the purpose of our sisterhood? What is the purpose what are we trying to do? And I'm not telling you to throw your bylaws away. Put them on the side for a few minutes and say, how can we make this happen? And do what you need to do in those interim times, in those interim years, and as people come and go in their lives when they happen. And just worry about, are we accomplishing our goals? Are we accomplishing what we stood out to do? And not be so bogged down with some of that structured stuff, if that's getting in your way of doing the best you can for the women that are part of your shul. So, let me give you some opportunities. Not that I'm an expert, but I am. I need a lifeguard. I so need a lifeguard. Anything about Women's League, anything about your sisterhoods, if you want to share stuff, we can. I have a packet for each of you with information.
One for each sisterhood.
One for each sisterhood. And again, we have a changed menu, and it's coming to all of you. It's not in this kit. Of training services it's not the menu, 1 3-hour on-site training. If your sisterhood is bleeding, we can give you a mentor. You want someone to sit, we had a sisterhood in one of this region, but it's not one of you, I'm sure. About a year ago, couldn't come up with the president. And Lori said, can you help them? We got the whole nominating committee on a conference call. I got on the call, Lori was on the call, and an hour later, we figured out, well, how many options are there if you don't have a president? You either don't have a president, you have a presidium, you have whatever. And we walked through each of the 5 or 6 choices you can have, and by the end of it, they said, okay, we think that would work here, partnering up. I think they chose that we'd always have 2 in a spot, 1 coming in, 1 going out, so that's that flow. Whatever it was, we talked it through in an hour on a conference call. I didn't fly anywhere. I was still in my pajamas in New York. And meanwhile, whatever shul that was up here got what they needed. And we can do that. We can do that with any category. It could be creative handcrafts. It could be Sahaba, it could be Judaic shops, it could be how to use Lisa Kogan's materials for education. You're getting packets of educational materials and you want to figure out how can I implement them the best way in my sisterhood, and you want to talk that through with someone, we'll make it happen. So whatever you need, bottom line, we're going to fine-tune it. It doesn't have to fit into that old mold. Whatever it is, we're here for you. So if anyone wants to ask any questions about Women's League or share any, we're stuck on this, now's the time. I am here. I'm free. Yes.
Well, I just want to say one thing we did when you were at our board meeting. We split up our synagogue directory because we wanted to call all the synagogue members to invite them to our Women's Seder, which is next week. And I made my calls yesterday. Was yesterday?
L&M, I
think yesterday.
Yeah, you called me.
N&O. I
made my calls, and I had to leave some messages. People were surprised. I didn't have anybody say, yes, I'll come to the Seder, but I had one woman who apparently was involved in Sisterhood years ago who said, it's so nice that you called. It's about time somebody called. And, and I explained to her why I was calling, and that it's difficult with everybody working to actually call every member of the synagogue with any regularity. But I was happy to talk to her, and I hope she'll come to programs, and maybe she will. And there was another one who explained how she had been a member, and they left the synagogue and came back, but she feels like it's a little late now to get involved. And she's our age.
She moved to Boca?
And I said, she moved to Boca. So I told, I said, people are working, and most of us are around the same age, and we would love to have you, and if you don't want to walk into a program by yourself, call me, we can walk in together. I did that with a few of them. This one lives across the street from our classroom. So, it was really interesting, the reaction I got. People, some of them didn't care, but there were a few who really liked it that I called.
But it only takes that couple one feel, wow, she actually got on the phone, didn't email me, didn't send that hard copy email flyer, and she called me, and now it's a relationship. Cindy and Cheryl, but you were
I just had a question
Yeah.
about when is the Seder, because it sounds wonderful.
It's next Wednesday evening, at 6:30 at Beth Judea. It's only $25 a person.
And it's going to be like a Seder dinner?
It's a full
Yeah.
dinner.
Whoa.
Kosher dinner. You can bring daughters.
Me and some others.
And we would love to have any or all of you come.
There you go. I would like to.
Just let us know, please.
I have to check our calendar.
But it goes to speak to people
wonderful.
learn things differently, people hear things differently, and people
Right.
want to be contacted differently. Some people love the email, and some people think it's nice to have somebody talk to me once in a while.
Right.
We need to stagger that too. We got so used to the emails, and we're so used to the old flyers, and we're saying, thank goodness we don't have to do the flyers anymore, because how many things can you put on your fridge? you need to do a combination. And sometimes you just need to get on that phone a couple of times a year and say, hello, it's me. And it makes a difference. Thank you for sharing that, Debbie. Cheryl?
I just wanted to say, all these years, all we've heard is, oh, we all work. I'm so tired of hearing people say, well, so many people work. You know what? I worked 3/4 time, and I was Sisterhood president and Torah Fund president for the region. Everybody works. Everybody's got their...
But I think the bottom line is, I think that's an excuse.
It's an excuse.
And I think that but they are busy. I'm
I know people are busy.
But people are busy, but they're picking and choosing that one thing that they are able to do. And at this moment in their life, they might just need to play racquetball morning, noon, and night. And instead of going crazy that they're not coming, we just have to say, you know what? She looks like me in a few years. She's not going to play racquetball. And so we'll get her then.